So a young person in a certain stage, it doesn't suit them. Others where they feel
I think we have a couple of things here. I think young people in high school and in college or university have an outlet there. They're usually at the universities that they're at. There's usually an MSA, so there's a meeting place that's already informal in a sense. So they have an outlet. It's when you enter the workforce that you're not really surrounded around this like artificial place. This is the real world now. Most of your co-workers are probably going to be non-Muslim just based on living in this society. So the chances of you meeting someone at work are very slim. You do have to have other outlets. You have to have Muslim friends, whether it's through camp or through M Connection or through IMAP. You need to build up a social network of friends.
Because, I just want to throw some numbers in it. When you look at the GTA, for example, there is about 250,000 Muslims that are single. So how many, again, you brought up a good point, how many mosques in there and how many IMAP in there, and you have to wait 3 months in order for an event to happen. And even that event that's happening by IMAP, does it really meet your need? I honestly, I went there and I spent like 10 seconds and I couldn't even like, it's just a different mindset. It's a different type, like just the way you're considering.
But at the same time, I think when we open up these other avenues, I think there's definitely a need, but I think we're opening up, a bit of a Pandora's box in a sense, because, if you look at the Canadian society or American society, in the past, they had very strict sort of rules of conduct for people in dating, and people would go and ask the permission of the parents to date the daughters, or there wouldn't even be dating at one point. And slowly it's come to but slowly it's come to the point where slowly it's come to the point where dating is common. You have things happening in schools. I mean, I'm a teacher that probably I disagree with. What I'm saying is when you open this up, there is that potential.
Well, the thing is, the way I look at it, you have a greater danger if you do not open up your society. If you're gonna stay close, then your daughters, your sons are gonna do things that you never wanted to do to begin with. So the blame goes towards the parents who have to open.
I don't think you can keep blaming the parents. Like, I mean, we all come we all come from the same background in some ways, and we understand that. But I mean, our parents come from a different world, and at the end of the day, all your parents want is for you to be happy, right?
I agree with that.
You're going to have to break through certain things, and they'll come around, right? I mean, they'll come around. So
I totally agree with that. However, the problem that I have noticed within the Muslim societies is that the parents, they're coming from Pakistan, they're coming from Middle East. They used to live in a different time. We're living in a different time today. Women are economically independent. They are no longer dependent on men. So they can make their own decisions, and that has totally changed the socio-economic condition of the society. So the entire idea behind marriage has changed. Now, previously, the arranged marriages that we started the topic with was very popular because men used to take care of women. So that was the idea. Parents used to make the decision. Children were not even put into positions where they can actually make decisions for themselves. And if you go back to Pakistan or India and places like that, you're going to find that people are not mature enough to actually make decisions for themselves when it comes to marriage.
I would say a lot of people will disagree with the word mature. They'd say we are mature, and in a way, if the culture says that's how things are doing, we respect other people's cultures. It has nothing to do with maturity. It's a way of life. It's a culture.
Ashraf, it's societies, all the societies actually, either Muslim or non-Muslim society, have evolved, have changed a lot with the time, within a time and within a space. So there's a lot of change that happened.
What do you say to Muslims who say no?
That's fine. That's exactly what
you have to change. You have to change.
Move forward. There will always be people who put a damper on change, and they try to hold you back. They do. They pass a guilt trip really on you that my goodness, this is not.
But change is the one constant that you have in life, right? Change is the one constant that you have in life. I mean, everything changes, and you have to adapt. Otherwise, you will become extinct.
Adapting is changing.
Adaptation here.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah.
and Rubina will probably agree with me on this, but I have to agree. I don't think we're the ones that have to change. And what are you referring to change? Are you changing, the environment? So is it okay now Islamically for you to take a girl out to the movies before you get married to her? Is that what we're saying we need to change? No, I completely disagree with that.
No, what we're saying is actually changing the environment, creating that environment.
That's a good point.
For example, if I invite you for example, when I was saying about, give an example about connection, going for a weather rafting, you are going in a group of 10 or 15 people. That's a good environment to meet people. You actually spend time and you talk. You don't have to. And that's totally
get to know people really get to know a person if you're serious about them in a group environment. Well, how can you possibly sit down and have an intimate discussion with a person and plan anything if there's somebody else sitting there? That's very hard.
That's a very good point.
The group environment is a starting point.
Absolutely, totally.
That's exactly what we were saying. CAMP, you said, was not a matrimony organization, and IMAP is. So M Connections comes in because it puts the two together. And I've listened. I haven't been to an IMAP event, but I've heard from you guys and from other people that a lot of the time, in today's age, like you said, women are professionals as well, and men and women want to meet each other who are like-minded, who are professional-minded. So with M Connections, again, I'm not trying to publicize us, but I'm just saying that this is one outlet. This is one outlet that we have right now.
Let's answer the question. Is there such a thing as halal dating, which is dating that's okay? How do we define this?
So
there should be.
Here's the thing.
Individual defines it for themselves. Every individual has to define it for themselves. If there is halal dating, if you don't get to go out with people, if you don't go out with a person, and especially when you're a mature adult and an educated person, you have no other way of meeting people, what are you supposed to do? Your marriage will be held up forever.
Absolutely. And we're trying to bring solutions to the table. We're not trying to say that Islam gave us the rules and the principles, but within those rules, you can actually create that.
I have to say this, that unfortunately, Islam is mostly abused, in our or misunderstood. I would say that's the right word. Misunderstood in many different ways, and it's actually used by people to serve their own agendas. When the society is working in a totally different way. The problem here that we're talking about is young Muslim men and women not getting married.
In a society like this, getting married.
But look, here's the irony, though. Here's what I find the irony is. Like, if you go back to Pakistan, right? You go back to earlier, but if you go back to Pakistan, you will find that people can actually have a relationship. That in some ways they are more liberal about it now than we are over here. So. There's an irony to the situation that we're talking about here.
But we're not defining Islam by back home, what's done back home.
No.
Okay?
It doesn't matter. I just feel that there is a sense of insecurity about Islam for people who come here.
You know what? And Toronto it's a great place to look at this because we have so much diversity. I come from Morocco. You come from Pakistan. For example, in Morocco, it's okay to meet and to be introduced in a group, and after that to know that person one-to-one.
And that's the culture says it's okay. Does Islam say okay, or how far do you go? Where is that line?
Well,
I don't think anyone has a right to draw that line for anyone.
But totally, I don't think anyone is. I think Islam draws the line for people, and I think we have to. Now there's different levels of understanding, right? Some people might say Islam says this, some people might say Islam says that, some people might say Islam says this, but I'm going to do this anyways, right? So that's where
most of the people.
Yeah, so that's where we have the trouble. The problem that I have, I do agree that there's a huge problem with getting people married, young people married, but the problem that I can foresee is us basically down the road saying, you have a son or a daughter and dating has become commonplace, and they're like, well, what's wrong with it? So they'll go out with one person, and this is even before marriage, like this is, in their teenage years, 12, 13, 14, 15, where marriage really economically, feasibly is not possible.
That is going to happen no matter what.
That's already happening.
All the time.
That is happening
all the time.
I don't necessarily see that happening in my family.
When you talked about the diversity, you talked about people doing that. Some people use other tools, other environments. Everybody has its own way. Either Islam is there or no. We know that's going going to happen.
You have to respect every individual's right to decide how they get to know a person, and you cannot impose your interpretation or views or
what
is your comfort level.
Islam's greatest strength